What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Birds Flyby here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. Your boy Matty B on the call. That's right, man. They turned me loose on the Eagles post-game. The Eagles win today 31-0 in a complete demolition of the Las Vegas Raiders today down at Lincoln Financial Field. Season is saved. We can all sit back down and be quiet because all is right in the world as the Eagles handled their business emphatically against potentially one of the worst football teams I've ever seen in my entire life. Good night, nurse. The Raiders stink. The offense stinks. Defense stinks. They stink. And I get it. You know, you got to go out there, and I know we're going to get into the conversation today about whether or not the Eagles, rose up to their opponents and put them down, and if this was the game indeed that they've saved their season and all is right. But it's hard to evaluate anything that occurred today during the fourth preseason game of the 2025 season. Good God, man. I'm sorry. You can get all hyped up and let's breathe easy because they won. But don't get on this show right now and tell me that you feel great about where the Eagles are headed, because the Raiders team, or you can if you want, I don't care, but Raiders stink, and the Eagles definitely handled their business today, 31-0 emphatically over the Raiders. I know it was, and that might be the tagline of the week. I know it was the Raiders, and I guess though we can take some solace though, because if we had to come on here and talk about how they lost to the Raiders or how they barely beat the Raiders, it would be a whole different type of situation. Hurts don't me happy. Hurts don't me happy. And then, we're going to evaluate some of the performances of the players that were out there at that time, because offensively, the Eagles moved the football. Offensively, they did what they had to do against a lesser opponent. But really, offensively, they were the same team that they were last week, the week before that, and the week before that, and the week before that, and the week before that, all the way up to week one. Let's be honest, I saw really nothing different about the offense. They just really beat the hell out of an inferior opponent. Jalen Hurts had a decent day, not asked to do too much. On the day, 12 for 15 with 3 touchdowns. I know it goes down as a touchdown pass, but the shovel passes, they are what they are, but Hurts had a decent day. He threw 3 touchdown passes and he was 12 for 15. Saquon, 22 carries for 78 yards, about 3.5 yards a carry. The Eagles defense was all over Kenny Pickett and all over the Oakland Raider offense, or just a decimation. I guess the best part of the game for me was to get a chance to see Tanner McKee come in there in the fourth quarter along with the rest of the second and third team unit and see what they could do as they sucked the clock right on out and ended up just bowling over the Raiders 31-0 today. So did the fans cheer their seat? What? Did the fans clear their seat? I don't know what that means. It's sort of a code word there. Eagles win 31-0. Some of my takeaways from this game: Raiders stink. First takeaway: Raiders stink. My second takeaway was Tanner time. Finally got a chance to see some Tanner McKee in this football game as he came in the fourth quarter and played okay with the backups. And my first takeaway, my number one takeaway from this game: Raiders stink. The Raiders stink. Now, I went on, and I've been saying all week long how I honestly thought that the Eagles were not going to win another football game. But I'm glad they put me in my place today. I'm glad the Eagles said, Matty B, yeah, you're out there, man. You need to come on back in, because there's a lot worse football being played out there than there is here in Philadelphia. And boy, we saw some of it today. How, Al Davis, one of the more stoic owners of football, really part of that pioneer group that kind of made the NFL sort of what it is today. That man must be literally doing somersaults in his grave watching what has happened to his beloved franchise. There was a time when I was a kid, the Raiders, the silver and black, the commitment to excellence, those were real things. What has happened to the Raiders, man? What has happened to that franchise that is just so bad? I mean, they don't deserve right now their franchise. The Raiders should literally just say, you know what? Give them the rest of the losses. They're going to get the number 1 overall pick and go from there. The NFL needs to review the Las Vegas Raiders franchise license. It is one of the worst teams I have ever seen in my life. And I've been privy to some bad football in my life. The 98 Eagles. The Raiders don't hold a candle, or the 98 Eagles don't hold a candle to the Raiders of today. Man, the Raiders stink. Just garbage. Hot garbage. Did the fans clear the snow? I saw snowballs being thrown around on TV a little bit. I was surprised, though. You know, I'm not in the Philadelphia area today. Where I am, it's been perpetually snowing for the last 3 days. So when I heard Philadelphia was getting snow last night into this morning, I was surprised when the game came on, and I saw sunny skies in Philadelphia. But it sort of kind of dipped in and out all day long. And yeah, I did see some snowballs getting thrown around. Run the ball more. Joe, they ran the ball. They tried to run it today. Saquon, again, not really impressive. I mean, listen, there's not much to evaluate here. There's not much for me to sit here and say this was the get-right game. Yeah, they won 31-0. But do you really come out of this game feeling any better about this team offensively? Yeah, they moved the football. They took what the defense gave them. But the run game was not that effective. Saquon averaged about 3.5 yards per carry. Yeah, granted, he didn't play the fourth quarter, but it wasn't really that much for me to get excited about. And I know Eagles fans are going to turn a corner this week, man. They're going to go up and down the flagpole saying how we're back, we're saved, we destroyed the Raiders, and they're going to have to be put back in their place because this was not even NFL football. Las Vegas should be embarrassed. Raiders Nation should be embarrassed. Everybody associated with the Raider franchise should be embarrassed by the product that they're putting out on the football field. There's nothing positive for the Raiders to pull from this football game. They might as well just trade Crosby now, get a boatload of friggin' first-round picks, and just start this thing all over again. It's bad, man. It's terrible. Crosby and Brock Bowers should be the hottest 2 trade commodities this offseason in the NFL. It's bad. This was fool's gold. Yeah, it was. Kaepernick. And next week against the Redskins or Commanders, mom and him, the Redskins, I'll call them the Redskins, probably be fool's gold again. And then we're going to have to reload and see how we step against Buffalo, depending on where the seasons are for both these teams at that point. And then we finish this up against the Commanders and head into the playoffs. And a big storyline from this point forward against this easy-ass schedule, getting into the playoffs is really, I mean, are we supposed to feel good? They haven't fixed anything, but are the Eagles back? I don't know. I think the jury is still out on that. No turnovers. They better not have turned the football over, Stars. Come on, man. How are they playing a JV high school team out there, man? It's terrible. This was just a training camp game. No, it was preseason game number 4, Kaepernick. It was the 4th preseason game of the 2025 season. Maybe if the Eagles play like this next week against Washington and win, and the Eagles play like this against the Bills and win, I could possibly change my mind. All right, let's expand on this, Kaepernick. What did you see differently today from the Eagles offensively that we've seen all season? There were still some problems running the football. There were still some problems running the football. Passing, a couple deep shots down the field for Jalen today, hit a few of them, got a couple penalties called. I didn't necessarily see nothing different. Nothing different from what we saw on Monday night against the Chargers. Absolutely nothing. The Eagles beat up on an inferior opponent today. There's nothing different or nothing that I can see from this football game that makes me jump right back up and say, we're back, baby. I didn't personally see it today. I saw the same thing that I've seen all season. We just played a really bad opponent. I don't think you guys really understand how bad the Raiders are. I mean, that was dreadful. I lost interest in that game midway through the second quarter. I was done. I was done with that football game about midway through the second quarter. Drew Milano was nuts going out in the cold with no shoe and shoe. Whatever, man. Come on. It's all ours. No injuries. No injuries is good. Well, no. I mean, Hurts kind of came up lame there at the end of the third quarter. He came up gimping a little bit, got his knee pulled back a bit. We'll see where we stand on that one going forward. I said at the end of at that comment. I said at the end of that comment, if they play against the Bills, I win. I'll give you the Bills. If they can go out and play a complete game against the Bills, win or lose, I'll feel a little bit better too. All right, so 31-0. Let's take a look at the Birds. What's the show called? The Birds Flyby. Is this the first time I've done the post game? Second time all season? First time, maybe? I don't know. I don't remember. But I don't normally get post game opportunities here on this network. I don't know why. I don't know why they don't put me out on Eagles post games. Man, I'm the biggest Eagles fans going. Eagles were 3 for 5 today in the red zone. 25 for 36 now on the season. 69.4% effective when the Eagles are in the red zone. First half, the Eagles did score 17 points. For now, 184 first half points, 13.1 average. They scored 14 in the second, a very consistent scoring output. And again, third quarter only because they didn't play the starters in the fourth. Now they've scored 138 points in the second half, still averaging less than 10 points a game per second half. Good stat here. 3 penalties only today for 35 yards. That is the best they've done all season. This is the lowest penalty input they've had or output they've had this season. The Eagles have now officially been penalized 100 times in the 2025 season as they hit the century mark today for 7.1 penalties a game. The march to 1,000 penalty yards is still on. 753 now on the year for 53.7 yards per penalty per game, or penalties per game. They did force 1 turnover, 17 now on the year. They committed none. Have only committed 13. That's less than 1 per game. Jalen got sacked 1 time for 4 yards. 29 sacks now for Hurts on the season. The defense got to Kenny Pickett 4 times today. 35 sacks now for them on the year. And the Eagles were 0 for 1 on full efficiency. Did not really have an opportunity, nor did they really need the opportunity to go for it on fourth down. 11 for 18 now on the year, 61% effective on fourth down conversions this year. And that's how you have your 31-0 decimation of the Las Vegas Raiders today at Lincoln Financial Field. And the question I have for everybody assembled, are we back, baby? Is this it? Was this the get-right game? Is this what Al Zafiri was talking about this morning on the AM and the Philly Sports Show this morning? This is the get-well game. Is everyone's confidence level sky high after the Eagles beat up on a junior varsity Las Vegas Raider team? I want to know because I think it's going to be an interesting storyline as we move to the end of this season with the Redskins coming up next week. And then you got Buffalo, and then you got Washington again. A very user-friendly schedule for the Eagles. As now I guess they're about a Dallas Cowboy loss away, and I'm not tracking. I think the Cowboys play tomorrow night. But they're about a Dallas Cowboy loss away from winning this division, which is interesting. Former President Joe Biden is here on the Eagles sideline with the Eagles. Does Joe Biden know he's on the sideline with the Eagles owner Jeff Lurie? And man, we bring out a loser. I mean, that's another thing. You're gonna get the endorsement of a loser president? Come on, man. It's just optically doesn't look right. Does Joe Biden know he's on the sidelines? Oh Lord, this team can't score points against a halfway good defense. This team will be done if they get lucky. Second round done. Yeah, and I think that's what the question's going to turn to now. Joe says they play the Cowboys. The Cowboys play tonight. So, yeah, I think they're about a Cowboy loss away from pretty much clinching up this division. We've entered a part of the season now, or the schedule, that we're going to be somewhat, as Mike Kaepernick said, fool's gold maybe. We're going to get right against some lesser opponents. You got Buffalo sandwiched in there. I don't know how much you can gauge that game. I don't know where the Eagles will be in the seeding. Could they have clinched the division by then? Probably. Are they going to get much higher than third in the NFC? Maybe. So I don't know where they're going to be in terms of playing players in that Week 17 game if they start sitting people at that point. So I don't know if you're going to be able to get a gauge. And I don't really know, with the way the offense has struggled, if you're even at a point where you can sit players. I mean, I hope that we're all on the same page that things are not right still, right? I mean, you're not taking this game and really throwing it up against the wall saying this is the game, correct? I don't think that that's something we should be doing. And I think the Eagles are in a really dangerous spot with the way the schedule is and thinking that they've solved some problems. The run game was not impressive today. It was not. Saquon broke a couple, but he didn't really break any. I was expecting Saquon Barkley to be running up and down this field all day long. He had some nice, long 10, 12-yard runs, but nothing. He didn't break anything. He didn't break anything open. And that's telling. That's a telling sign as well. They put Jalen Hurts in a game manager mode, and he performed excellently. The offensive play calling, a lot of shovel passes. I think, was it 2 shovel pass touchdowns today? I mean, but again, is this what we're looking for? Is this the recipe for this team to get back into a Super Bowl type situation? I don't know the answer. I think the answer is no. I don't think I don't think how he was. I don't know how he was president of either Star Wars, honestly. But Eagles now will wait for next week, Saturday football. Eagles Commanders from Virginia. Is that where they play? Always forget where they play. In a game where the Eagles should win. In a game that I'm sure is going to be on in the background of many Christmas parties next weekend, as people are going to be half watching that football game, because that game will probably have a lot of this week's flavor to it. Just dreck, just bad football. And today was telling, man. It was telling that, yeah, we get on the Eagles because we expect a lot. But can you imagine being a Raiders fan? Can you imagine, and not a Raiders fan of the new school, but like an old school Raiders fan, like somebody my age who's seen what it used to be like, and now being a Raiders fan, I don't be able to live with myself. That was disgraceful, man. Absolutely disgraceful to the sport, to the league. That team was a CFL team. That team was a UFL team. It was not an NFL team. And it was absolutely disgraceful to see that. The Eagles defensive line looks good today and last couple of games. Yeah, well, they had 4 sacks today, right? Was it? Yeah, 4 sacks today and 7. So 11 sacks over the last 2 games, averaging over 5 sacks a game over the last 2 games. Absolutely. The defense is going to be what's going to end up getting this thing right for the Eagles. And I think we've already come to that conclusion, that it's going to be the defense that gets this team back. But they played well. Absolutely played well. There was no problems on the defensive side of the football for the Eagles. It was pretty much the status quo, right? But offensively, a different story. Offensively was a different story. Again, I didn't see anything really that jumped off the page at me that looked better. They just beat up on a lesser team. Glad we got rid of Pickett. He's a bum. No, he's not. No, Pickett's not a bum. Pickett's a backup. He's a very competent quarterback. He's playing on a bad team. A terrible team. BG had a sack. I thought it got nullified because of the double penalty on Cooper DeJean. Wasn't that the play that Brandon Graham had the sack on that got nullified because of the holding and then the personal foul penalty on DeJean? I don't think that sack went down in the book. Washington 29, Giants 21 with 2:23 left in the fourth quarter. The Giants recovered a fumble. There you go. So I guess bad versus bad. Someone's got it. I guess that's probably a pretty good game to watch. Better than the game I watched today. Man. Lost interest by the second quarter. BG had another sack after the Giants. I didn't even see it. And then what do you take from that there, Michael Kaepernick? Brandon Graham's getting sacks. I mean, I don't know how you take that. Is that a testament to Brandon Graham, or is that a condemnation of the Raiders? I mean, that offensive line, the Chargers offensive line last week was terrible. The Raiders offensive line said, hey, hold our beer, because we're going to go out and we're going to one-up it, man. God damn, that was bad. Brandon Graham got a game ball after the Eagles win for becoming the oldest player with a sack. No, he did not get to. Listen, he got one more after. Does that sack still go down the book, even though it was sort of nullified by the penalty? whatever. Congratulations, Brandon Graham. I'm not here to criticize Brandon Graham. That's not what I'm here to do. That's good to see him become the oldest player in Eagle history. Or what is it? What did he say he was? He is the becoming the oldest Eagles player with a sack. Congratulations, Brandon Graham. 31-0. A complete elimination of the Raiders today by the Philadelphia Eagles. But was it though? Was this the Eagles or was this more of the Raiders? And unfortunately, we'll never know, because what the Raiders put out in the field today was an embarrassment to the NFL, an embarrassment to Al Davis, an embarrassment to the city of Las Vegas, the city of Oakland, and the city of Los Angeles. All of them. Just no one should be feeling good about where the direction of the Raider franchise is right now. That's the team that's 25 to 30 years away from figuring this thing out. Just awful. So, but I'm glad you guys are spending a little bit of your Sunday with me. Here is our schedule on the It's a Wrap. Well, I should tell you, here's our schedule for the rest of today on the It's a Wrap. You're going to have Flyers and Hurricane postgame as they're getting ready to, I think in about an hour, Flyers are going to drop the puck out in Carolina against the Hurricanes. Big Mike will have you postgame for that. I will be at 9 o'clock with the final word. And then here's our schedule for next week as we'll get it all rolling again. Steel City pregame, Steelers, Dolphins tomorrow night. That's right. That's who plays tomorrow night. So a special 3:30 p.m. edition of the Steel City pregame show. I'll be on at 9 doing the final word and everything else that we got scheduled for the rest of the week. And then Saturday, of course, Eagles, Commanders, and Flyers, Rangers will be our highlights of our post-game day, as we got the best type of football, Saturday afternoon football at Christmas time. Doesn't get any better than that, regardless of where your team is. Glad we got rid of Pickett. He's a bum. Did I just do that one? Did I already do that one? Which Brandon Graham did not come back. Well, we can start talking that more in the offseason, Star Wars. It obviously may not be the move that's going to get this team over the top, but they needed some depth. They needed some leadership. It's a win-win for the Eagles, as long as you're not relying on him to go out there and make plays. But today he had a good day. He had a great day against the Raiders. Congratulations, Brandon Graham. Reported to us by Star Wars, the oldest player in Eagle history to record a sack. So that's good stuff. But 31-0 is your final. Don't forget, again, next Saturday at around 8 o'clock, I guess that game will be over. We'll be back here with the Eagles and Commanders. Mike Laro should be back in the seat next week, as he's doing some work for the state right now. So he's out of the net, but he'll be back tonight for some Flyers post-game. So I'm doing some fill-in duty here on the Birds Flyby. Eagles now improved their record to 9-5 and are pretty much a Dallas Cowboy loss away from breaking the curse of no back-to-back NFC East divisional winners since the 04 Eagles did it. So, or 04-05 Eagles did it. And we'll see how that works out tonight. And then we'll get it going next Saturday as the Eagles continue this three-game and 13-day stretch that they started last week against L.A., culminating, of course, next week or the week after next against the Buffalo Bills in their final home game played at Orchard Park. The Eagles will have the honor of closing out Orchard Park for regular season play against the Buffalo Bills, as they're going to open up a new stadium next year. And the Eagles will be the final regular season game for the Buffalo Bills up in the Orchard Park Stadium. So should be pretty cool. Again, everything that's coming up here on the network tonight, we got Flyers, Canes post game, and you got the final word a little bit later tonight at 9 o'clock. So I guess there's really not much for me to belabor the point here. The Eagles handled their business in a big way against an inferior team, but I'm not gonna sugarcoat it and try to tell you that I can evaluate anything about how this team is back or this team has turned the corner or Jalen Hurts' performance today is any different than I've seen all season long, because it really wasn't in my eyes. It was not any different than I've seen all season long. What the difference today was, of course, the fact that the Eagles beat up an inferior opponent. And that's what they were supposed to do. It would have been a lot harder coming on here. Well, maybe easier for me, but a lot harder for most people to come on here and talk about a close Eagles win or, God forbid, an Eagles loss. But they did what they were supposed to do. but it's hard for me to evaluate them, and it's hard for me to say we're back based on that opponent, that disgrace of an opponent, that embarrassment of an opponent in the Las Vegas Raiders. And for all you Raider fans out there of the very storied Raider Nation, I'm sorry. I'm sorry things are bad like that. I didn't think they were this bad, but they are. And I don't know where the answer is for you guys. I really don't. I don't know where you go from here. But Brock Bowers and Max Crosby should be number 1 and number 2 trade priorities in the offseason, because you need draft picks. You need a lot of them. You need a ton of them, because you got to get this thing turned around. And Max Crosby and Brock Bowers are not going to be anywhere around this team by the time you guys get this thing fixed. It's that bad. So you might want to think about getting rid of those guys to help you guys out in the long run. As for the Eagles, we continue on 9-5 now. We'll wait for the Commanders next Saturday, and hopefully they have a division championship in the books by then, or very close to having one next week. And we'll come back and we'll talk Eagles Commanders next week, and then all the weeks remaining all the way up into the playoffs, and then from there we go from there. So you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. I appreciate you spending some time with me. Eagles 31-0 winners over the hapless Las Vegas Raiders out there at the Lincoln Financial Field, snow-drenched the link. I'm Matty B. This is the It's a Wrap Sports Network. You're watching the Birds Fly By. You guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you later.